Contra, a Michelin One Star new American restaurant, is closing after a decade of service, and I had my last meal there. Located in New York City's Lower East Side, Contra was created by chefs Jeremiah and Fabian. The restaurant garnered critical acclaim for its creative and modern approach to cuisine. It offered a contemporary American menu that emphasized locally sourced seasonal ingredients. The chefs were known for their use of unique and unexpected flavor combinations. I went to Contra for the first time in 2021, and it was phenomenal. The humble presentation delivered a depth of flavor unmatched in its class. After knowing the chef decided to close this restaurant, I went to have one last meal there to say farewell. Contrast's interior was small, dark, and unassuming, a form of restrained elegance. As I settled in, I was presented with a bread coated with celery root and accompanied by house-made butter. The bread was soft and fresh, fluffy and light, while the celery root formed a crispy crust that added a gentle crunch. The bread on its own was very good, but the house-made butter stole the show. It had a velvety richness and a potent sweet dairy aroma. This was one of the best butters I've had. The first course, tofu with meat reduction, buckwheat, and caviar. I had savored this dish before and found it phenomenal. However, this time, it was a huge letdown. The dish was very underwhelming and lacked depth of flavor. The meat sweetness and umami were also absent. You can just look at the comparison here. They didn't even look like the same thing. The portion size had also shrunk considerably, albeit the previous order was a la carte. I expect the same execution even packed in a smaller body. Unremarkable. The second course, featuring a scallop wrapped in shiso leaves and shallow fry, was somewhat of a redemption. Tender and succulent, the scallop paired beautifully with the crunchy shiso leaves with its nuanced sweet herbal notes, and the subtle acidity of the possibly olive or caper-infused umami paste added additional depth. Moving on to heirloom tomato crowned with nduja, a type of Italian sausage. The sausage brought a burst of flavor with its sweet, savory, umami, and crunchy profile. However, the tomato, a supporting actor in this dish, failed to resonate with a lack of discernible flavor, texture, or temperature in any way. Next up, fushimi pepper with tropea onion, sorrel leaves, and nut shavings. The dish adhered to the principle of hot food hot plate, cold food cold plate, a detail appreciated and always give credit when credit is due. The fushimi pepper tasted like a milder version of shishito pepper with its char aroma and subtle sweetness, which went in harmony with the onion. The sorrel leaves tasted similar to oxalis, adding a mild sour and herbal note. However, the nut shavings, while present, contributed minimally to the overall composition. While the fushimi pepper was pleasant, the overall flavor complexity felt more suited for a bistro than a Michelin star restaurant. Compared to the dish of similar profile during my last visit, this one somewhat fell short. So far, I'm almost halfway into the tasting menu, and the best thing I've had was the bread. A notion contrary to the saying that a restaurant's caliber can be gauged by its bread. This was not a good sign. The menu had been underwhelming so far. While some dishes had their merits, they seemed better suited for a cozy bistro than a Michelin star establishment. As I engaged in a conversation with my fellow diners at an adjacent table, I heard that none of the executive chef, head chef, or sous chefs were present that day. This absence could potentially account for the dip in food quality, but Michelin awards restaurants, not individuals, and I expect a consistent standard of quality, and this seemed to falter in their collective absence. Or maybe they didn't care as much upon the impending closure, leading to this regrettable letdown. In stark contrast, my prior visit to this establishment had been considerably more impressive up to this juncture, excluding the noteworthy exception of the bread. I was putting Contra on my Michelin grill, ready to roast, but how much fuel I'll add to the roast entirely depended on the forthcoming segments of the menu. Moving on, buckwheat crepe with pequito crab, char eggplant, and white wine sauce underneath. I wasn't sure what to say about the presentation, as if someone had just thrown a piece of tablecloth on the plate. Slicing it open revealed the crab meat within. A whimsical presentation aside, this dish was incredible. It commanded attention with its briny umami taste of the crab that harmonized flawlessly with the sauce's intricate sweetness enrolled by the mildly sweet crepe. It was like a breeze from the ocean and rekindled my culinary excitement. Next dish, pork collar, adorned with turnip leaves and shaved horseradish. So far, you have probably noticed the presentation isn't a strong suit of Contra, with each dish assuming a rather rustic, or to put it plainly, ugly aesthetic. Yet, this was another incredible dish. It was tender and flavorful, heightened by a modestly fatty cut that exuded rich aroma and a hint of spice from horseradish. However, the turnip leaves offer neither a pronounced flavor nor a visual appeal. A minor quibble amidst the splendid ensemble. The waiting game then was a bit too long and I was getting a little bored, so I played with my phone. Finally, the dessert arrived. A cake made with malted milk, which is a mixture of malted barley, wheat flour, and evaporated whole milk powder. The cake was stuffed with Concord grape, topped with ice cream, and bathed in aiguille savaillon sauce. This was a delightful orchestration of textures and flavors. This confection weds tart and fruity sweetness from the grape with the cake's gentle embrace, creating a refreshing well-balanced sensation. The ice cream and sabayon provided creaminess, which contrasted with the flaky texture of the cake. If that wasn't enough, the moderate shaving at the top provided some eluding crunch, further elevating the experience. A beautiful dessert. The grand finale, mandarin granita topped with popcorn shaving and coupled with popcorn mousse and olive jelly beneath. The mandarin was slightly acidic and enriched by the corn mousse with its pleasant sweetness, and the popcorn shaving offered an interesting texture, popping and jumping in my mouth, leaving a long-lasting impression, a delightful ending. Then came the bell, and it was a shocker. The final price for the tasting menu has surged to $150, quite a jump from last year's $110 price tag, and an even bigger jump from its initial price of merely $55. With tax and tips, I spent just a bit under $200. Damn inflation. Also, the portions were quite small for the price, and I wasn't full, leaving me slightly unsatisfied both in terms of portion size and overall value. In conclusion, my farewell meal at Contra had its ups and downs. While moments of culinary brilliance punctuated the evening, others fell short of expectations. I just got back home after finishing my meal at Contra. The first half of the meal was meh, but the later half of the meal was amazing. So I was a little torn apart on how should I give verdict to this restaurant. There are definitely dishes that could have done better and should have done better, for example the tofu. And the other few dishes of the first half were okay-ish good, but I feel like they belong to a bistro instead of Michelin restaurant. Luckily, the second part of the meal was amazing and I love everything of it. But for a Michelin star restaurant, I expect everything to be amazing. But still, it was a decent meal. I don't regret going there. And it's my last meal at Contra anyways. It will be closed by the end of October. And I still will look forward to what the chef will create for their new restaurant at the same location. This is Fusky. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Ciao.